Hi, and welcome to Secrets of Award-Winning ABM Campaigns with Triblio. I am Andrew Mahr. I lead our client success here at Triblio. I've been here for about 2.5 years. I've really gotten to see the account-based marketing market evolve significantly over that time, watch it mature, which has been a lot of fun. And that's really the reason I joined Triblio. I saw the chance to join my colleagues there, Andre and Mike, who are leaders in the product team that brought Eloqua to market, and saw the chance to see a category like account-based marketing emerge, be a part of that happening, and that's been an exciting ride for us. And in the meantime, in addition to working with lots of great clients, we've gotten to build a great platform that has been featured by Forrester and won some awards from Cody, which has all been great validation along the way. But what's most important to us is that we've gotten to work with really great, we think, category leading marketers and companies who we've gotten to learn a lot from, and we'll pass on some of those learnings today in the webinar. Those include Plex, which was recognized by the group at TOPO as being, the marketing leader there as the world's leading ABM practitioner. That's a quote from Craig Rosenberg on the stage. Workfront, which won Program of the Year from SiriusDecisions. Trapeze, which won Best ABM Campaign from the Demand Gen Report, as well as FinancialForce, which won ABM Annual Report feature from Demand Gen Report. Evariant, which was the case study for implementing the ABM data model from SiriusDecisions this year, and then an ABM Program of the Year finalist at the Oracle Marquis DLT. So each one of these clients and many others have taught us a lot, and we're excited to pass on some of those things to you in today's session. Before we get into that, I want to level set by giving a definition of account-based marketing that we use just when thinking about it from a practitioner view. Account-based marketing, as we define it, is unifying inbound and outbound marketing with sales plays to grow revenue with your in-target accounts. We think that ABM must be for inbound as well as outbound because a lot of the purchase journey happens anonymously, happens on other websites beyond your own property. So you need to be able to reach people when they're coming to you and exploring, even anonymously. And we also believe that account-based marketing can be for any size account. We've seen it work for accounts of all sizes. That doesn't mean the tactics are the same, but we think you need to be able to apply in different layers of scale to different sizes of accounts. So now that we're level set on an ABM definition, let's discuss the actual framework we have and kind of the secret sauce to successful ABM campaigns. So there are several steps to executing winning ABM campaigns. Before getting started with anything else, we do check and want to talk our prospects through just if the organization is ready to execute and commit to ABM. Three things we look for: have they identified account-based marketing objectives that everyone can get behind? Sales, marketing, operations, all support. Do they have organizational supports or all the key functions that are needed to execute ABM committed to this as a process, not just committed to letting marketing do it on their own, but are they committed to participating and having skin in the game? And then finally, has the organization decided on target accounts, having an ideal customer profile in place, but also which accounts they're going to start with are going to be the early priority? You can't launch account-based marketing by going after everybody at once. Once those pieces of organizational support are in place, you can begin focusing on these 5 key ingredients that we're going to be talking about today. And these are the 5. First of all, grouping known and unknown stakeholders together in your campaigns. We've seen in our data that about 8 of every 9 decision makers or influencers in a deal is going to remain anonymous. So you need to have campaigns that take them into account, that reach them, engage them, and are able to personalize for them appropriately without assuming that they're going to fill out a form, because the vast majority of folks are not going to do that for you. You need to design campaigns with sales plays in mind or with them baked into the process. If you design ABM campaigns that are really just marketing initiatives of handing off different types of leads and expecting sales to do what they've always done, you're not going to see the results you want. So integrated sales handoff, very important. You need to segment your target accounts also, and this doesn't just mean for content delivery, having financial sector content for the financial sector and so on, but segmenting in terms of the level of effort you're going to spend. So do you have a tier 1 identified that marketing and sales are both willing to spend a higher level of resources in sales time, marketing expenses, and are you in agreement about how how accounts get into that tier one. Fourth, you need to have account-based metrics in place that allow you to see not just whether you're moving leads through the process effectively, but are you actually able to get momentum in the groups of accounts that you care about? Are you measuring revenue appropriately to see if you're getting the early indicators of engagement as well as the new revenue growth within the segments that you're focusing on? And then you need to be score by account so that you're not relying on lead scoring to show you where the early successes are, but you're able to see that you're getting early engagement in the account, so your team is motivated to keep pressing on because ABM efforts can take a little bit longer. So if you don't have any way of showing that there are early successes, you can disincentivize everyone from continuing to invest in the process. With those 5 key ingredients in place, we have tools and ideas about how to orchestrate marketing and sales campaigns together and measure and optimize those. But we're just going to spend today's time focusing on those 5 key ingredients. So one of the first things that we help clients to think about when they're getting started with their ABM campaigns is the buyer's journey and changes to buyer's behavior that have taken place over the last several years. And the big one, and a stat that many of you have probably heard before, is that up to 57% of the purchase journey is anonymous, done online, digitally, on other properties. Some analysts will actually say a number higher than that, but let's just stick with 57% to be conservative. So that means that most of the time that people are spending reading, researching about you, reaching out to peers to understand their experience with your solutions or products is happening before lead capture. And that means you need to be able to reach all of the decision makers and potential influencers well ahead of the time when they're actually filling out a form on your website. Otherwise, you're only going to be influencing them really pretty late in the deal. So are you able to not just capture leads, but identify and target your stakeholders and personalize their purchase journey ahead of the form capture? It's a very important ingredient to ABM working well. And it's more difficult to do this than it might seem at first. First, you have to understand that your stakeholders are not just interacting on one channel like your website, but lots of channels. And that means there's lots of different types of data coming into your system that you need to be able to synthesize and pull into a single view of a lead. So that IP address that you see, that ID that shows up on an ad network, the ID that shows up in your marketing automation, all those need to be rationalized or synthesized into a single view of a lead. And then leads need to be grouped appropriately into accounts and then buying groups so that you can market to them about their products or solutions that are relevant to them and not miss them with messaging that is inappropriate to the stage that they're in or inappropriate to the actual solution that they're exploring. So if you're like many of our clients selling 10, 15 different products or solutions, you're dealing with lots of locations, lots of different buying groups. You need to make sure that each one of them is getting the right message and you're not just crossing wires with yourself, delivering the wrong messaging to people. And one of the places where it becomes really important to group known and unknown buyers together is actually in the second ingredient of designing campaigns where marketing to sales handoff is thoughtfully and cleanly executed. So if you have an account-based audience platform that is identifying anonymous behavior appropriately, you're going to be able to identify signals when engagement is picking up and when that account is sales ready, possibly before they raise a hand, and you're going to be able to do the sales handoff accordingly. So having an account-based audience platform that identifies the accounts, scores them, can do analytics and lead to account mapping, and then power all of your ABM execution of reaching through account-based advertising, doing the anonymous engagement with website personalization or A/B testing, and then also at the same time handing off to sales activation so that SDRs or AEs are running the right campaigns at the right time is all based on your ability to have that first ingredient of understanding what the anonymous buyers are doing and then being able to kick in the right tactics on the right channels, including sales handoff at the right time. What separates good and great ABM campaigns is the third ingredient, which is account segmentation. And we found from an ABM perspective, the two most important segment criteria are the size of the account that you're targeting and how far they are in the customer or purchase journey between being a prospect that you're trying to land for the first time to being a customer that maybe you're trying to expand your business with. So account size is important because as accounts get larger, they're going to require more personalization for different stakeholders. There's going to be more buying centers and buying groups, as well as more sales complexity. So those accounts are very different. By the same token, purchase journey is very important because prospects are going to be less willing to hear from sales than existing customers are. They're going to require different content. For instance, prospects might need more thought leadership as they're getting to know and to trust your brand and your solutions, whereas customers are going to more rely on product usage and past results to validate their willingness to invest more in you, trust your solutions, and look to you as a leader in your category. So this type of segmentation is going to drive your messaging, your channel usage, as well as your calls to action. Before we talk about the last two ingredients, scoring and metrics, though, I want to dive into some award-winning ABM campaigns from our customers so you can see in phases how real-world customers of ours have built out using these tactics. So the first example is FinancialForce, who was able to go from having a 100% lead-oriented demand gen organization to actually driving 40% of their demand from account-based marketing tactics, all in a span of 6 months on a journey that they went on with us. So the first phase up on the screen here was really still leads-based. They were just using ABM tactics for lead generation. This was them dipping their toes in the water. So they had an objective of driving more leads in industry-based account segments that they had, and were really just relying on website personalization to deliver one-to-many messaging. And there was no real sales prioritization of these accounts. It was just generating more leads. So this was successful for them. They were able to generate more leads, but they still weren't there in terms of seeing the pipeline impact they wanted. In phase two, they had ABM campaigns that were truly ABM, but without sales handoff planned into the process. So now they're focusing on getting new demos. They're working off an actual account list, not just broad industry firmographic criteria. And the tactics got more sophisticated where they were sending direct mail, email campaigns, and continuing with the website personalization, all delivered from the marketing team, all still one-to-many. So it's this kind of large-scale process. And this was successful, but still didn't include sales, and so still wasn't driving the organizational alignment they wanted to see, and still wasn't delivering the larger pipeline results that they knew they wanted to get. So what they did is formed a pipeline SWAT team, they call it, where sales, marketing, and operations came together to plan ABM campaigns with each of their voices represented. And the key insight out of that process was that they segmented their account list into tiers and have sales and marketing working together on the tactics that would be used in each one of those tiers, and got very specific about how to allocate sales time and what marketing campaigns would be delivered into those tiers. So they focused still on demos from a campaign perspective, but worked in that tiered account list, added some events as well as account-based advertising, and most importantly, this lower right corner, started to prioritize sales engagement depending on the segment they were being marketed to. So here's what that looked like in terms of a campaign grid. You can see in their tier 1, they had about 30 accounts assigned to an AE. AEs and SDRs were actively prospecting into those accounts, and prospecting was happening all the time. In terms of the marketing support, they were really throwing the kitchen sink at this priority one. The brand awareness ads, websites were being customized, high-value direct mail, high-value targeted events, advertising to prospecting lists, everything that marketing could be doing, they were. As it got into priority 2, now these accounts were actually assigned to the SDR team, outbound SDR team specifically. Prospecting was still being done proactively, but not quite as much marketing spend was being put on it. There was direct mail, but it was lower value items. They had events, but they were more regionally focused instead of one-to-one, and it was one-to-many marketing messaging, and campaigns were being delivered to these. And then as they get into priority 3, or organic inbound, again, the lower sales investment and lower marketing investment. Here's an example of what that campaign looked like in the tier 1, where marketing and SDRs actually designed a direct mail plus outbounding campaign together, where a high value item was sent to the key prospects in a list, and air cover ads went out at the same time to warm up those individuals and increase brand awareness about FinancialForce. A little while after that direct mail went out, SDRs followed up with campaign assets that marketing had actually designed for them. So marketing wrote the copy for the ads and the postcard, and also for this email, SDRs just personalized the opener and the closer on it, and so they were able to spend their time on what they do really well, but the campaign was really consistent from a marketing perspective, and they delivered this through email as well as through landing pages. And then as they saw engagement from different pockets of accounts, sales outbound would be triggered again. The SDRs would know who to follow up with based on engagement reports they were getting, and they might even do more in-depth personalization, so design even more highly personalized or specific landing pages or send out ads based on what they thought was needed to push those accounts over the line and get attention and ultimately meetings booked with these high value prospects they're reaching out to. And as compared to the previous campaigns where marketing and sales had not been collaborating, this created about more than a 2x increase in total pipeline value. So great results from them as they leaned into from going from marketing generating more leads within a key segment to marketing and sales and operations actually really partnering together to design a campaign that the teams could execute together. Second example of segmentation is from a customer of ours, Trapeze, who sells multi-million-dollar IT solutions to metropolitan transit authorities. So these are really long deal cycles and high value, not very well-known universe, only so many MTAs out there to target. And the need was to grab decision makers' attention that sales couldn't reach. These are large organizations and really needed marketing's help to put Trapeze on the map. So their approach was to have marketing support sales with highly personalized messaging for their top 10 or 15 accounts across every channel that they could possibly deliver. So they marketing made sure that the prospects were getting one-to-one account messaging across direct mail, across events that were being thrown for them, as well as on the homepage, on resource centers that were on the website, display ads, print materials, any material that these accounts engaged with in their top 10 or 15 list, they were getting messaging that was just for them, specifically focused on the exact solution that Trapeze was trying to sell to them. So this campaign won Best ABM Campaign from Demand Gen Report, and was really a fantastic effort from the Trapeze marketing team. Results were fantastic. They saw a huge increase in session duration on the website from these accounts, doubled response rate to the 3D mailer that they were sending out when they were using these other tactics as opposed to just relying on direct mail alone, and more than 10 million in new opportunities created by sales within this segment after marketing got behind and started to create this engagement. So fantastic results there. The last example I'll walk you through is from SalesLoft, who wanted to use a combination of sales outbounding through their SDR team, of course, along with website personalization to, again, address different levels of personalization needs and engagement in different segments. SalesLoft is getting a lot of attention as they're selling a really important solution for enabling effective SDR work. So they needed a way to do some level of personalization for all the accounts that they're nurturing, but to be able to segment that into kind of their tier 1, which needed the most personalization and would get one-to-one messaging, versus tier 2, which was going to get more kind of segment one-to-many messaging. And the way they executed this was for their tier 1 accounts to actually get highly personalized landing pages. They delivered these through Triblio personalizations, and these actually matched the sales outbound messaging that their SDR team was delivering. So SDRs would as they're reaching out to an account, decide how they're going to personalize for it, ask marketing to deliver, give them a landing page URL that captured that messaging and the value proposition that they were pushing. Then marketing would use a templated approach to give that to the SDRs so they could follow up with their prospects and point them to that URL. That was a high level of effort, even though we're using templated approach to it. And so in their tier 2, where they had an even larger group of accounts, instead of the SDRs needing to come up with a specific value proposition or use case that they wanted to promote to the account, they instead just had this more of a merge field based approach to promoting the account team that account was going to get to work with, which was information they could pull right out of Salesforce without the SDRs needing to do any additional research or personalization, but still was highly personal from the perspective of the prospects. So another great campaign, and they saw large increase in conversions from these accounts based on the SDR outreach as they delivered it. So now that we've talked through some actual campaigns in practice, I want to switch gears and talk about those last two key ingredients that we mentioned, metrics and scoring. So the importance of focusing or having good and complete metrics in place for ABM campaigns really comes into light from this kind of uncase study from an early customer that I actually worked with who developed really great content for initially an account-based marketing campaign, but measured it based on leads, and so didn't end up getting the results. So this is what happened. They wanted to reach into the retail, travel, and luxury brands that were in their tier 1 list from sales. So they developed high-value content, promoted it really well on a few different channels, and as a result, at the top of the funnel, they saw a lot more leads. They saw conversion rates in those verticals go up 2 to 3x. Initially, this looked like great results because leads within their tier 1 accounts went up significantly, right? That's what everyone wanted. But because they were focused on generating those leads as a campaign, that metric actually led them to not focus on what the SDRs were going to be doing with those leads when they came in. So what happened when lead volume went up significantly all of a sudden? Well, the SDRs started having a volume problem, didn't follow up on all of the leads as they should have, and after a few months, when marketing was reviewing the results of these campaigns, they saw that all the leads had gone up significantly in these tier 1 accounts. The pipeline had barely budged, and that's because the SDR team hadn't been trained on which of these leads to prioritize appropriately as they were coming in, and they didn't know what plays to run. So they were just following up, when they did follow up at all, with very generic high-level messaging about what this company offered, instead of having specific plays to run that were in line with the content that people initially were converting on that the marketing team had delivered. So this is a case of wrong metrics leading to not designing the campaign all the way through, and a lost opportunity. Fortunately, we were able to turn this around and get better results. But this was a missed opportunity initially for the first few months, really because they went out measuring the wrong thing in the first place. So what should you actually be measuring? Well, one good thing is to think about an account score. So how many new accounts are engaging with you, and to what degree are they reaching a marketing qualified account state that would justify sales reaching out to them or other marketing campaigns being launched. Are you getting pipeline lift in the segment that you're targeting? So are you not just generating more leads or more deals, but are those actually happening in the segments that you're targeting? If your ABM campaigns are being sold to the executive team as generating more revenue, but then they look down deeply and see that revenue is happening outside of the tiers or the segments that you promised to focus on, obviously that's going to be not good results for anyone. So it's important that you start out with setting a right baseline of here's the traction we have in this segment right now, and then being able to show a before and after that shows after these ABM campaigns went online, what happened to demand generation within those specific narrow set of accounts that you agreed to focus on. In all cases, we've seen people having success in generating more pipeline, but you need to have that set up in place and have those expectations set early on. And then another good one is where do accounts sit in the funnel? So if you imagine instead of a lead-based funnel, an account-based funnel where an account at the very top doesn't know about you, doesn't know about the solution, and then as it goes through, becomes aware of you, becomes engaged, shows more and more interest in specific products, becomes an opportunity. Having a funnel in place with the right account metrics that lets you see what those different stages are, and you can show then to your sales team, where their segments sit, and are you driving engagement? How many are there for them to follow up on? This can do lots of great things, from validating that campaigns are working, helping sales team know when and where to spend time on their accounts, and even things like prioritizing SDR outbound lists, so they know where the iron is hot, so to speak, in terms of focusing their prospecting. So here's some examples of clients setting up the last two ingredients of successful ABM campaigns. The first is a variant who is featured by SiriusDecisions in their account-based marketing measurement breakout session at the recent SiriusDecisions Summit 2018. A variant first grouped their leads and contacts in their marketing automation system and their CRM according to buying group, following the SiriusDecisions model, and then defined a buying group by the different product needs that existed in an account, because they have several different solutions they sell. So depending on the buying group profile, as they saw accounts engage with different solutions on their website or attend different webinars, they would know what actual solution track those accounts were on, and so which parts of the account they had effectively tapped into and which they hadn't. And as a result, they knew, if they're seeing account interest pick up for a specific product, that meant that very specific marketing and sales plays were run as a follow-up. So this is a great example of what we didn't see in kind of the uncase study where I showed you earlier, where sales or marketing was just focused on leads and then sales didn't know how to follow up on them. In the variance case, they're doing a great job of measuring what specifically, focusing on getting engagement from the right accounts, knowing specifically where they're having success, what products are getting interest in what buying groups, and then being able to have more marketing support follow up on those, as well as the right sales outbounding. The last example I'll show is from a customer who set up account scoring to actually help them discover new pockets of activity as well as levels of engagement from their existing accounts that were in their CRM. So they set up account scoring, and then were able, based on those account scores, to pull that data into Salesforce and then build views for their SDR team that triggered different outbound plays. So this could be all anonymous activity that's happening, but their SDR team has visibility into which accounts in their territories are showing early signs of engagement and can plan follow-up campaigns accordingly. Amazingly, when this isn't in place and we're onboarding clients or talking to prospects, I'll frequently ask, how are SDRs organizing their campaigns today? And hear surprisingly frequently that it's happening. Well, they'll work through their accounts alphabetically, or they'll work through them geographically. Those are not data-driven processes for your SDR team, and it's no surprise that response rates are where they're at today. You can do a lot better, your SDR team can do a lot better by having this data-driven approach where the way that they're prioritizing their day is based on real engagement that's happening, early signs of intent that are happening in an account, and know how to personalize what to reach out about, what buying centers to reach into, instead of just having a totally cold list and needing to call and hope they strike a vein of gold. Finally, this client was then able to measure their account funnel based on what stage of engagement each of their accounts are at. So all of this is based on having an account scoring system set up that, again, like we talked about early on, brings together anonymous behavior with known behavior, maps all of that to an account engagement level, and then the benefits for them were activating sales at the right time, as well as having this measurability and visibility into where their accounts sit in the funnel. So that's the 5 ingredients we wanted to run you through in today's session. Grouping known and unknown stakeholders together. You need to be able to do that if you want to reach them early, have good visibility for your sales team, be able to measure early signs of engagement and results, and keep momentum. Segmenting your target accounts. This isn't just about aligning content to an industry. It's about prioritizing where your sales team is going to spend time, prioritizing what level investment marketing is going to spend on different groups of accounts, and then what types of content, of course, also to deliver. Design campaigns with sales plays, sales handoffs in mind. Marketing is not going to be able to deliver closed-won deals. So in addition to driving engagement, driving demand, you need to help sales follow up on that demand in the right way. And if ABM just comes across as you throwing a new kind of lead over the fence, the results are not going to be inspiring. So you want to have sales involved in that process, ideally operations, sales development, AEs, all having a chance to weigh in on how these tiers are being designed, and then how campaigns and sales handoff are being designed. And then finally, to be able to derive all the benefits from that, create account-based metrics that give you the right types of visibility into where the wins are happening, how and when your sales team should be reaching out, and then be able to do that down to the specific account, so that you're personalizing and running the right campaigns into these accounts as you get engagement. So that's all the content I have for you today, but would love to spend the rest of our time on Q&A. But thank you all for your attention and just spending this time with us so far today. And yeah, floor is open for discussion now.